in the city of Eloah was spent in the seed that produced his elder brothers. For all three of us would have been better served had his passions led him to the door of another house, Bryony, perhaps, whose adepts are trained in financial cunning. But Pierre Cantrell had a weak head and strong passions, so when coin swelled the purse at his belt, and seed filled to bursting the purse between his legs, it was to Jasmine House, indolent and sensual, that he hied himself. And there, of course, betwixt the ebb tide in his wits and the rising tide in his loins, he lost his heart in the bargain. On the outside it may not look it, but there are intricate laws and regulations governing the court of night-blooming flowers, which only rustics from the provinces call anything but the night court. So it must be, for we, odd that I say it still, serve not only Nama herself, but the great houses of Parliament, the scions of Eloah and his companions, and sometimes even the House Royal itself. Indeed, more often than royal cares to admit, we have served its sons and daughters. Outsiders say adepts are bred like livestock to produce children who fall within the house canon. Not so, or at least no more so than any other marriage is arranged for reason of politics or finance. We wed for aesthetics, true, but no one ever, within my recollection, was forced into a union distasteful to him or her. It would have violated the precepts of blessed Eloah to do so. Still, it is true that my parents were an ill match, and when my father bid for her hand, the Dawain of Jasmine House was moved to decline. No wonder, for my mother was cast true to the mould of her house, honey-skinned and ebon-haired, with great dark eyes like black pearls. My father, alas, was of a paler cast, with flaxen hair and eyes of murky blue. Who could say what the commingling of their seed would produce? Me, of course, proving the Dawain in the right. I have never denied it. Since he could not have her by decree of the night court, my father eloped with my mother. She was free to do so, having made her mark by the age of 19. On the strength of his jingling purse and his father's grace, and the dowry my mother had made above her mark, they eloped. I am sure, though I have never seen them to ask since I was but 4, that both believed my mother would throw true a perfect child, a house treasure, and the Dawain would take me in open-armed. I would be reared and cherished, taught to love blessed Eloah and serve Nama, and once I had made my mark, the house would tithe a portion to my parents. This I am sure they believed. Doubtless it was a pleasant dream. The night court is not unduly cruel, and during my mother's lying in, Jasmine House had welcomed her back. There would be no support from its coffers for her unsanctioned husband, but the marriage was acknowledged and tolerated, having been executed with due process before a rural priest of Eloah. In the normal course of events, if my appearance and budding nature fell within the canon of the house, I would have been reared wholly therein. If I met the canon of some other house, as I nearly did, its Dawain would pay surety for my rearing until 10, when I would be formally adopted into my new household. Either way, did she choose, my mother would have been given over to the training of adepts and granted a pension against my mark. As my father's purse, however ardent, was not deep, this would have been the course they chose. Alas, when it grew obvious that the scarlet mote in my eye was a permanent fixture, the Dawain drew the line. I was floored. Among all the 13 houses, there was not one whose canon allowed for flawed goods of this kind. Jasmine House would not pay for my upkeep, and if my mother wished to remain, she must support us both in service, not training. If he had little else, my father had his passions, and pride was one of them. He had taken my mother to wife, and her service was only for him, and no longer to be laid at Nama's altar. He begged of his father stewardship of a caravan en route to trade in Terre Unitus, taking my mother and my 2-year-old self with him, seeking our fortune. It will come